So how important is mental health to you, considering what you've gone through?
Well, it runs in the family. It's called generational depression and suicide. My grandmother died by suicide. My mother found her. My great aunt died by suicide. My mother and I found her. I was 4 years old. I screamed for days, and I'll spare you the scene. But if you want to know, it's in my first TEDx called "A Matter of Laugh or Death," and it is horror movie awful. I mean, it's especially at 4 years old. And I have two mental illnesses. One's called major depressive disorder, better known as depression, which lasts 3 days. Some people's last up to 2 weeks and recurs like a flat spot on a wheel. It just goes around. It's a cycle, generally not situational. I've been most depressed and suicidal at some of the best times in my life. It's just that's major depressive disorder. And I have one that's more rare called chronic suicidal ideation, which means for me and people in my tribe, the option of suicide is always on the menu as a solution for problems large and small. The story I tell is my car broke down a couple of years ago. I had three thoughts unbidden. One, get it fixed. Two, buy a new one. Three, I could just kill myself. That's chronic suicidal. It's always option C. It's just a coping mechanism we were born with. The upside of that, by the way, because I tell that story every time I keynote, every time I've spoken, except for once in the last 6 years, there's been somebody in the audience who has chronic suicidal ideation and they're unaware it has a name. They think they're just some kind of freak. And I had a young woman come up to me after a college presentation. She goes, "Thank you for your keynote." I said, "You're welcome." She goes, "But I got to tell you, it made me weep." "How did it make you weep?" She goes, "Well, you know your story about the car, get it fixed, buy a new one, kill yourself." She goes, "I've been having those thoughts all my life. I didn't know there was a name for it. I just thought I was some kind of freak completely alone. And then I heard you say that, and I realized for the first time in my life that I'm not, in fact, alone, and I wept." That's my why right there.
Mhm.
That's my purpose and my passion.
When you come across situations like that experience must have been eye-opening because there's probably so many people that you yourself will come in contact with that maybe aren't as courageous as that woman to come up and say that, you know what, Frank, this is what I've been going through. I've been
Mm.
experiencing this my whole life. And you raising awareness now is actually helping me because I'm guessing ideally you'd want someone to have that, aha, there's a
Yeah. Oh,
name
yeah.
to it in their earlier on versus later on in life.
Yeah. Because they may not make it to later on in life. My feeling is for a lot of these people, I may have steered them far enough off the path to suicide that they'll actually live a normal life. And to that end, um, I was in Billings, Montana. It was dusk. I just spoken. It's starting to snow. There's a river nearby. I can hear the water. And it occurred to me, I'm sort of like that character George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life. I've been shown what these people's lives might be like if I weren't there to go, "Hey, you're not alone." And my next thought was, I can't kill myself because if I did, I would take all those people who never got a chance to hear me reassure them they're not alone with me. A friend of mine goes, "You can't live with that?" I go, "No, dude, I couldn't die with that." So now I'm stuck.
So you mentioned it's generational.
Yeah.
Has there been anyone that, maybe including yourself, that has tried to, is it like a cycle that can be broken, or is it just something that continues to happen from generation to generation to generation?
Well, I'm the only one I know of that's actually suicidal. My sister has depression and anxiety. Pretty much everybody, there are more nuts in my family than there are in a squirrel turd. Uh, but none of them have the suicidality. My sister and my first cousin have depression and anxiety, panic attacks, and other relatives have other issues. I'm I just happen to be the only one who was blessed with chronic suicidal ideation. But I got to tell you, it's actually I consider it my superpower, and here's why. A lot of people don't understand that suicide is not so much about wanting to kill yourself as it is wanting to end the pain. And so knowing I could pull the trigger or open the door and the exit roll in the plane at any point and jump allows me to stand a great deal of pain because I know I can make it come to an end in a, pardon the pun, a flash. So it, the chronic suicidal ideation actually keeps me alive, ironically.
And touch on that a little bit more and expand on why do you feel that it keeps you alive more now, and you feel more alive because you know how to end the pain, but it allows you to endure a lot
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, a friend of mine said if it hadn't been for my chronic suicidal ideation, I'd have killed myself a long time ago. Because if I wasn't aware that I could end my life at any point, and pain begins to get really bad, for a lot of people, one of the issues with depression is if you haven't lived with it all your life or realized you had it, you tend to live in the immediate, in the moment, in that pain, and they say to themselves, it's never going to be any better than this. If it's going to be like this the rest of my life, I'm just going to go ahead and end it. Well, I have a cycle of 3 days. I know when I begin to spiral down, there's an end to it. In 3 days, I'm coming back up the other side. But sometimes people aren't aware. And also the suicidal thoughts, I know I can end that pain at any point. I recently, we had a wildfire nearby, and I was downtown, and I don't know if you've ever lived where they have wildfires, but they have 3 levels. They send you a warning. Number 1, get ready. Number 2 is get set. In other words, get packed, ready to roll. Number 3 is go. Don't look back. Don't take anything else. Just get out. And I'm downtown, 25 minutes from the house. There's a wildfire 1.25 miles from my house. When I left the house, we were level 1. I figured, well, I got time to go downtown, do my appointment, come back. They skipped over level 2, right to level 3. Get out. Well, we have 11 rescue cats in the house, and we're like the Marine Corps. We never leave anybody behind. So I'm driving east toward our neighborhood while the entire rest of the population over here is driving west, fleeing the wildfire. I'm driving into a wildfire. And a friend of mine said, well, you could have died. I go, look, I've been trying to kill myself for decades. B, he goes, you could burn up. I go, no, that's no way to die. I have a handgun. If the flames are licking my toes and it appears I'm going to burn to death, I'm eating a gun. I'm not burning to death. So being willing to take my life at any point allowed me to drive back in the neighborhood, rescue 11 cats. Besides that, if I died, don't you want to die doing something just magnificent? Well, what was he doing when he died? He drove back into the fire to rescue his kikis.